The owner approached us with a house that they wanted to do a myriad of things with, and they came back and decided that they could really gain a lot of space if they renovated the basement. The renovation of the basement started with the idea that it was lowering the floor because it was a 6-foot basement in the middle of Washington, D.C. It was a brownstone, and there was really nothing down there. We had to remove some of the walls, and we discovered that there was a beautiful patina of stone. Our first thought was, once we uncovered it, perhaps cover it, but as the design went along and progressed, there was an opportunity there to use the stone and reference the historic nature of the house, even though the design and the context was essentially modern. We'd foil against each other that history of the stone and then pull back with certain modern elements and superimpose them on them. I think there was a certain amount of eloquence in trying to get that stone to look right. There were patchy areas and areas that weren't exactly perfect. And that's where the contractor came in to make sure the areas that were exposed looked the best. And we strategically placed walls and created parameters so that those areas that were maybe patched a little too much in the past were covered. Then we took a simple palette of, I would say, desaturated colors, allowing that to act as a backdrop for the furniture that was superimposed on it. One of the biggest challenges in this space is that the owner wanted the space to be used as a living space at the same time as an area for storage. And in that storage, they had bikes, they had equipment, there was a furnace room, there was an existing bathroom, there were utility areas, and there were lower duct spaces that had to be coordinated.
This was one of the aspects of the project that excited me more than almost anything else we did there, because the design that Donald put together was to get the maximum amount of storage without looking like storage. So when you walked into that space and you looked straight down this hallway, you saw just this beautifully clean look of white wall, basically, is what it looked like. And it had these nice sliver handles that were almost invisible to the eye. Unless you knew they were there, you didn't really know they were there. So to achieve all of that storage space without it looking like storage space was just magnificent, a magnificent design. And that was one of the most fun parts of the project we had putting together.
It's funny that we had a design of exactly how we wanted the project to go. And when we began to rip apart the basement, we realized we had to create an entirely different design. Duct work wasn't where we thought it was going to be. Walls weren't plumb, and there were CMU in situations that we didn't really want them to be. The fireplace was much, much different. And from that, we just essentially took a big eraser and started from scratch again. And then we began to reinform the design at those parameters of what we discovered.
Having to start with one design, and then as we got into it, as Donald was saying, we had to, as we started to peel back things, and had to change as we went. He made it even more of a challenge in that regard, because we were taking stuff away and adding to what was already sitting there waiting to be put on. But I recall at one point that because nothing was plumb, nothing was square around the windows, the way the moldings were hitting the windows from the wall, and the crowns and all the trims and moldings, these beautiful moldings, and nothing was coming together the way you wanted it to come together. So we literally did have to strip it almost completely back down to the bare walls and start over. So it was a tough space to work in.